Hi there, my name is Raquel and thank you for watching my podcast. I want to thank all new and returning viewers. And today is Sunday the 20th of August. And yeah, I don't think it's going to be too long an episode. I only have one finished object to show you. I was not actually expecting to finish it off, but I got lucky and managed to finish. And sorry about the movement of the camera. Rusty's behind the computer at the moment on the table, and he just moved. Yeah, and I have one lip to show you, and then a project I'm going to be making next. So let's just get started with finished object. By the way, I was actually going to wear the finished object, even though I have a couple of ends to show to weave in still. But it's like 36 degrees here today, and I'm not wearing a long sleeved sweater, so just so you know. So I did finish the sweater I showed you last week, and here it is. Let's see, I showed all of it. So there it is. I ended up, I think I just finished the short rows at the back for the back neck, and that's the sleeve. That was my counting, so I knew where to put in the decreases. Now you're supposed to end the sleeve in the same color as this, but I didn't have enough to do that, so I just took the purple that I used in the striping and I finished that. And then last week I had said I was gonna do 3 different colors for the bottom of the sweater, but I decided to just keep the striping going. I mean, I was liking the 4-row striping, so I just kept going in 2 colors. And I weighed it, obviously, to make sure I had enough, and I did. So that's the finished sweater. This is the Ravelry by Isabel Kramer, and I'm really pleased with it. I could have increased a bit more on the body section, because I did, the top part fits fine, nice and loose like it's supposed to. The bottom part is a bit tight, but then again, I haven't blocked this yet, so I might stretch it a bit more for the bottom. And yeah, so I'm really happy with that. And this is what I have left over of all the other colors, and it's the purple. So I had a full skein of this one here all over the place. A full skein of this one and some left over, and I had a little left over and a full skein as well. So this is what I have left of the full skein of the purple, and this is what I have left of the full skein of the green. So I basically used all of it up. And then these two, I had partial skeins of each one of them. I had about 30 odd grams per skein, and I now have about 3 to 6 grams of each left over. And I already have a project planned for this, so I'll talk more about that in a minute. So that was my finished project. I managed to finish it this quickly because I had Monday off, because Tuesday was a public holiday. So I think I got to just past the Monday wasn't even a full day of knitting. In the morning I had to go take the dogs to the vet, and then my mom's dogs were here as well, so I spent some time with them. And then I only really started knitting about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So Monday was only half a day of knitting. Sorry. And I got maybe up to about here or so, maybe on the Monday, and then I did the rest of the body on Tuesday. I finished the ribbing on the Wednesday morning before going to the office, and then I started the sleeves in the evening, and it took me the rest of the week. I only finished the second sleeve yesterday. Going back to work, obviously I don't have as much time as if I'm at home the whole day to knit, so yeah, that's why it was such a fast knit. Even though it was a light fingering yarn, I used 4mm needles. This is the gauge I like to knit this yarn at. I've knit this at a tighter gauge with the 3mm and 325mm, but it makes too much of a dense fabric, and because this is even though there's cotton in this, there's also 55% merino in this, and for the summer I like it at a looser gauge, This is a great sweater for summer when it's cool at night. At the moment that's not the case, but you know, we're coming towards the end of summer now, or yeah, another month and it's like the end of summer, so I'll start wearing it then most likely. I just need to block this, and I haven't blocked the shawl from last week. I didn't get onto that, so I need to clear some floor space next door in the craft room. As you can see, I'm back in my living room today. It's just easier to podcast here today because craft room is a mess again. I don't know how. It's just in a short time it's back to being a mess. I need to sort it all out again. So yeah, that's where I'm at with the finished object. And then this morning I decided to cast on for a pattern that I just received as a gift, which is the No-Show Socks by La Maison Lily. Now I've knit several of her patterns and I really like her patterns. They're simple to follow. You just have to follow the instructions. Basically that's it. Just follow the instructions as written and you're fine. It does sometimes look a bit, as you're reading it, doesn't seem to make sense, but if you just follow it as written, it's just fine. So let's see if I can find a nice picture of the socks. So this is the pattern, the No-Show Socks, and then there's, so they're basically really shorty socks with, now this is a paid for pattern, so I'm not gonna talk about it too much to give away any of the instructions. And I've just got to the point where I'm going to be putting in a heel, and this is what it looks like. Looks like really tiny thing. It calls for any fingering weight yarn, any sock yarn. This is a Drops Delight skein that I got gifted one time when I placed an order at Bowler's Home several years ago. And I had used this, or I had started to use this for a pair of mittens, but I never got around to finishing those mittens, so I just ripped those out. And I thought, well, let's just see if I can squeeze out a pair of short socks with this yarn, as this is a lot less yardage than what it calls for. It calls for, let's see, what is the first page? All tangled up now. It calls for minimum of 210 grams per 210 meters per 50 grams, and this is 175 meters per 50 grams. So there's a good 40 meters less in this skein. But like I said, I'm already at the point where I'm going to be inserting a heel. And I should mention, this skein was pretty heavy. It wasn't 50 grams, it was 59 grams. So I got almost a full 10 grams extra in the skein, which is great because that should allow me to finish these socks off perfectly. I'm liking the yarn. She says to knit on this on 2mm needles. I'm knitting on my usual 2.25 millimeters, higher sharps. The fabric is pretty tight. I could easily have gone, let's see if I show you. I could have easily gone up to a 2.5, but I'm pretty much on gauge actually for the socks, and I'm knitting my usual size. No, I'm knitting a size smaller than what's suggested because I had knit up to the size I usually knit for, which is like a women's size medium, but the sock was way too large, so I ripped back, and that's what the stitch marker is showing, the end of the toe. So this is the back. I've got my yarn at the back this time because I need to count the repeats that I'm doing. And for the row, for the front, I don't need to count the rows I'm doing. I just need to count repeats for the sole of the foot, which is the most important part of the sock. So yeah, I'm really liking the pattern. I'm hoping to obviously finish off this one today, at least this sock, and maybe finish the second sock. I don't know. Depends on how much knitting the dogs will let me do. I think they're actually going to let me do quite a bit of knitting because Like I said, it's 36 degrees here today. It's really warm. I've got the windows slightly open because it's too hot in here, but I can't open it like all the way like I usually would do because of the cat. I'm scared he'll go out on the balcony and jump on the ledge, and I don't want him on the ledge of the balcony. Rusty, you gonna say hello? Come in. Over there. Say hello to the camera. Over there. Turn this way. Say hello. There you go. Hello. Who's that? Are you seeing yourself on the computer screen? Huh? Who's that? Okay. Off you go. Go towards the cat. Okay. So, that is my only whip at the moment. Now, I said I was going to come back to this yarn, and that's because I have quite a bit of leftovers. I'll show you. Let me just take it out of the project bag I've got in at the moment. And I thought of doing something. Now, I have 2 yarns that I'm going to join together, and that's, so I have all these leftovers, let's see, from various sweaters and shawls, and yeah, sweaters and shawls that I've knit over since like the last 2 years. I'm probably not going to use this one because there's still quite a bit of yardage on this. I think there's about 38 grams left on this, and I have 2 other skeins that also have roughly the same, so this one's probably going to not be incorporated into what I'm thinking of making. But then I have this one, and then I have all of this, and I have a little ball of this. So I have all this. This is all Olivia yarn, which is all the 55% merino, 45% cotton. This one I'm also maybe not going to add to it. I'm not sure. These for sure, because there's like very small quantities that I probably wouldn't use for anything else. So this yarn is great for split splicing. That's what I've done in the sweater. I have minimal ends to weave in, basically, because I did the split splicing. Sorry, there's fluff all over the place. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. And then I'm going to pair it together with some Kid Silk Haze and some Kid Silk Night. These 2 colors, and I have 2 full skeins of each color and then partial skeins. So I'm gonna make like a fisherman rib scarf. I'll make it like a specific width or something, and then just knit until the end of basically the Kid Silk, because I think I have more of this in terms of yardage than this. So pairing it together, we'll see how far I go, and then when I get to the end, I'll just either, depending on how big the scarf is, if it's like a really nice size, I'll just leave it as a scarf. If not, then I'll just sew the ends together and use it as a cowl that I can double up, you know, around my neck, maybe twice or something. Now, I have been looking for more of this Kid Silk Haze. I know I have like a green, and I should have, I believe, a blue, 2 shades of blue, but I can't find them. That's why I'm saying that my craft room needs reorganization drastically. Like, really, I need to take some time out over the next couple of weeks and really just do proper cleaning in that room. So I think the blues I might have used in another project, but I should definitely still have some of the green. So yeah, we'll see how that turns out. I think that's what I'm going to cast on after I finish the socks. I'm hoping, if I don't finish the socks today, I'm hoping to finish them tomorrow, and then hopefully cast this on either tomorrow or Tuesday. And then when I finish this, it's for the rest of the month, I'm going to be focusing on my pinwheel blanket. Like I mentioned last week, I really want to get another row done by the end of the month, hopefully, so that I can, basically I want to add 1 more row per month until the end of the year so that I can finish the blanket. to the specifications I planned at the beginning of the year, which was 6 blocks across by 8 blocks down, so 8 rows basically. So I have a nice lap blanket by the end of the year. I've also decided that and I haven't brought it here to show you, the hexagon, the Persian Dream blanket that I was knitting, I'm not going to make that into a blanket anymore. I'm going to use the yarn for something else. I will, however, make maybe a plain back piece, or maybe another hexagon with either the same pattern or a different pattern. But I'm leaning towards doing 2 half hexagons and then overlapping them to make sort of an envelope, because I'm going to turn it into a pillow, basically. And then, like I said, I'll use the yarn for something else, for a different type of blanket. Yeah, I don't want to be messing with that yarn right now. It's too hot for that, and I think the hexagon blanket, the Persian Dream blanket, needs to be done in thinner yarn, and maybe I like the monotone. I like the two color scheme that I'm using, but I think it needs to be done in thinner yarn. I think this yarn is too thick. The yarn I'm using is from Von Natur, and it's like Portuguese, local Portuguese yarn. It's kind of rustic, I suppose you could say. I don't personally find it very scratchy, but yeah. I think it's great for outerwear, for garments, for like cardigans and stuff. If you knit it at a pretty dense gauge, it'll turn basically waterproof. I have knit a jacket. I'm hoping to wear it this winter. Not the summer. It's too hot for that kind of yarn in the summer. I just need to add some buttons. So yeah, I have my plans for the rest of the month. I'll let you know next week if any of that came to pass. If I kept to my plans. I've written. Basically, I've written down on a piece of paper all the projects I still want to try complete this year, and including the whips I have on the needles. And one of the things I had wanted to start this year was the crochet blanket, but I haven't gotten around to it yet, and I don't think I'm going to start it now. I think that's going to be the blanket I start next year. And in the meantime, I'm collecting all my scraps for that. And I might start making some magic cakes out of that, out of all the scraps, and caking it up when I get to maybe like 100 grams or something. And that way I can just, when I start, I can just do one cake at a time. So yeah, that's it. Like I said, short episode today. I want to get the first sock finished, see if it really fits. So far it's fitting perfectly. I should mention also, I had bought one of the things I wanted to make. One of the items on my list is the Cell Blue Mittens by Ellie from Skander Knits. I had bought the original pattern when it came out at the beginning of the year, and she has now created a club. So it's a knit along that she's doing, and if you buy the club, you get the mittens that are currently out. And then for the rest of the year, so September, October, November, and December, you get one free. You get one extra pattern each month. It's not like a mystery thing or anything. So I'm going to do those as well, but I don't think I'm going to do the mittens just yet. I have planned them for September, so I can do 2 pairs straight away. It is color work, but she has done it in a way that the first ones are easy, and it goes up in difficulty. Another reason I'm not starting these now is because I need, like I said, I need to go through my stash to search out my DK yarn. It's more or less all in one place, but I want to organize that. What I have thought of doing, and I just really need to sit down behind my sewing machine to start doing this, because I've planned a whole bunch of sewing and I've not actually done any of it, is make fabric, like the boxes. Just I'm going to measure my cabinet, and I'm going to measure the depth and the width, and then divide that into specific sections, and then just make little like stand-up baskets, basically just bags like this, but make them more squared at the bottom, and so that I can just use them as yarn bins, I suppose you could call them. So basically it would be something like this that I can just take out and then have all this yarn of, you know, all specific yarn in one place, and that way it's easier just to get in my yarn cabinet and just take it out, and instead of going in there and like, oh, there's a skein here that I want to use and there's a skein there that I want to use, it'll all be together. Also, I'm thinking of putting maybe smaller ones in front where I can put like any leftovers and stuff like that, so that all that kind of yarn is all together as well, so that I don't have to go through the current scrap bin that I have over there, which is like everything mixed together. And then like yesterday I was looking for the Kid Still Pays that I knew I have somewhere, but I can't find it at the moment, so I might have really used it up in another project. That's most likely the case. Or I put it away somewhere and I can't remember where it is. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have lunch now, and I'm probably gonna take the dogs out for one very quick walk, and then hopefully they won't want to go outside for the rest of the afternoon. Like I said, it's really warm. They've not been wanting. I went out at 9:30 this morning with them, and that was the second time I went out with them, and I took them on the longer walk, because usually 9:30 in the morning is still fairly cool. It wasn't. It was already close to 30 degrees, and we got like halfway through the walk and I was like, okay, let's just cut this short and go back home, because Dakota was already not wanting to walk. Rusty was looking at me like he didn't want to walk either. The cat spends most of his days in the laundry room on top of the washing machine, which doesn't catch direct sunlight, but there's like slits in the windows, so there's fresh air coming in, so he's nice and cool there. Or he spends it in the hallway, which is dark and also cool. Actually, that's probably the coolest place in the house at the moment, is the hallway, which is like in complete darkness. The bedrooms and the living room are they're west facing, so we catch the afternoon sun, and I need to sleep with the windows open. I have blinds, so the blinds are all the way down, but I have the windows open to have some fresh air in. Otherwise it's impossible to sleep. So yeah, I'm gonna really quick edit this and go finish off my socks and have lunch and take the dogs for a walk and just enjoy the rest of my afternoon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.